Loose on the Lead with Steve Bick and Seth Merrow. Loose on the Lead is sponsored by
Good morning. Welcome to Loose on the Lead on this beautiful Saratoga Sunday morning. I went sans jacket, and as Anthony left the set on the Handicappers Report, I said, you know what, I think this is the best day of like the last 3 or 4. It's supposed to get warm up this afternoon, but currently we have a really nice morning here in front of Clare Court, and a nice morning on the show as well. Obviously, Steve headed down to Monmouth for the Haskell, and then he's headed over to Colonial as well and doing a little driving back and forth. I mentioned on the Handicappers Report, due to that, I have to recheck with Steve, but I guess the game plan is going to be I'm going to host the radio show on Wednesday. I'll be over on the front side and pull some folks over. It should be fun. I filled in for him. Boy, it could have been like 8 or 10 years ago. I filled in one time, so I'm looking forward to getting back in the radio chair. That'll be on Wednesday. But again, Steve out, so I am solo today, but we have a fun show coming up a little bit later on. Kim Weir from the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation. I always like to plug Kim in once or twice or 5 times during the season to promo the great work they do at the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation, and they have a slew of events coming up that we'll hit on and more. Cherie DeVaux had the nice win yesterday with Jane Mast. She also won the Wilton on opening day, the stakes race. First shot out of the Wilson chute, and she got it done with Tarabi. We'll talk about those and a little more with Cherie. And then Bruce Brown yesterday. Robin Sparkles is a really nice horse. Got it done yesterday in the Caress, and immediately afterwards I went in the winner's circle and said, hey, come on over and talk with us again about Robin Sparkles. So we'll have Bruce coming up a little bit later on. But top of the show, very happy to be joined by Mary Rufo and Miker Rennie, who do, if you follow Twitter, you've probably seen both of them on Twitter, but also they have the podcast, the Smoke and Mare podcast, so we'll talk about that and handicap some races and much more. First of all, good morning.
Morning. Thanks for having us on.
We're happy to have you on. Again, kind of touting the podcast world that is out there and growing, and see if we can get people checking out your podcast a little bit. Before we do that, I was watching some of the podcasts last night, and I know you were talking a little Haskell, and so we have the stretch run coming up from the Haskell here, and things worked out well with one of your opinions.
Yeah,
so
Waterbury let me down. It's all right, though.
Talk a little bit about stretch run here. Fun rooting for Al Gold, the guy that races a lot in New York. Cyberknife hasn't been seen in New York, but he's based is from the Monmouth area, so it was great to see Al win with Cyberknife. Taiba just couldn't get by. Jack Christopher disappoints a little bit running third, but it was nice to see Cyberknife, Flojo, Flangero, Brad Cox, and Mary, you were a Cyberknife fan.
I was definitely a Cyberknife fan. I think this horse, has matured so much over the year that he's had, and as a 2-year-old, I think he was a little mentally not there, and he's kind of mentally maturing as he grows up, and I really like to see it. I think he was the strongest in the field.
Yeah, Mike, what were your thoughts on the race?
I thought it was I was all on Jack Christopher, key exacta box with Cyberknife and Whiter Barrio, so that was kind of my play on the race. Obviously wrong, but I just was surprised actually by the run by Cyberknife. Could have maybe got the perfect setup. I'll wait till next time out to see if I can improve off that, but it definitely showed up, ran an amazing race, great win for those connections, and I just love to see it. Get in that Breeders' Cup.
Yeah. He got a great trip.
Got the trip.
Came up the rail, and Taiba had to go a little wide. Get some thoughts also on the feature here yesterday, the Coaching Club American Oaks, because I think as I walked around the track and then talked to people last night, I think it was more, it wasn't that, hey, Ness won. It was like, wow, Ness won. It was just, the margin of victory was amazing.
It was absolutely stunning. I've been on Ness since the Bluegrass, and that one loss in between there, and then Grand Rail again in the Belmont, and then right when that Belmont race, I was like, winning next time out. It was easy. That horse wasn't even sweating. I was sweating more than the horse yesterday. After the race, I was cracking up. So, love to see Ness. Yeah. What a horse.
Yeah, that a great performance. Mary, what were your thoughts?
She was definitely very impressive, and I think she ran a buyer actually higher than Cyberknife. If I'm not mistaken, I think her buyer was actually higher. And I want to say, Secret Oath was a little disappointing at 6-5, but you know, Ness just really showed how great she is. So I'm excited to see what's next for her.
You are correct on the buyer. Cyberknife comes up with a 102, which is very respectable, but Ness, a 104 buyer yesterday.
Right.
That's just crazy.
Love it.
All right, let's talk and talk loudly. And folks, we have to be picking this up even with our mics. I would just alert people that across the street, as per usual, they have fired up the leaf blower, but we'll power through. First, as I say, you have the Smoke and Mare, which I like to play on words, podcast, and talk a little bit about that. First, give me a little bit of your background. Mary, I know you're kind of a local native, and talk a little bit. I'm assuming because you're local, that's how you became a fan of the horse racing game.
Definitely. So I'm from Clifton Park, New York, and I grew up, you know, in the summer I was either here up at my grandparents' house in Gold Landing, where my grandmother and mother were huge horse racing fans.
I see.
And, you know, make your calls into Capital Bets and Photo Bets, you know, every couple of minutes basically. So that's how I became a fan, and more so recently during the pandemic, getting a little more into handicapping and understanding, and then that's how I met this guy on Twitter, you know, because of our love of handicapping and horses.
Yeah.
And Mike, you're on the complete other side of the country. And
yeah.
I'm curious, how'd you get into the game and being from Oregon, where you're a Portland Meadows guy?
Portland Meadows is my track. I spent every day there for about 10 years before they took it down. But my dad got me into horse racing. Used to go to Portland Meadows with my dad at Long Acres, I think, before they switched to Emerald Downs. Was kind of the Northwest little combo off I-5. It was just, I love seeing the horses just run. I view them as athletes. I played college sports. Just love the talent of it and the process of it all. And seeing Saratoga, how much goes into it, how many people are employed, backstretch, front stretch, people just working everywhere, people loving handicap and being around horses. I'm not used to it, so it's just an amazing thing. So it's good to see that. But yeah, this Portland Meadows was how I got into it. The old stomping grounds there.
I had Will Alampievich on with me the other day, now that the head of ninth of New York Thoroughbred Horsemen, but he used to be the GM out of Portland, and I got to know him because they were advertising on my Equidaily site.
Yeah.
And part of the deal was I was handicapping some pick fours for him, and I had a lot of fun. I thought Portland Meadows was a lot of fun, so it was sad to see them go.
No, it was. You know, you get some, they'd run sometimes a little later on for you guys, you know, being out west, and then, you know, I mean, you got the synthetic, and you maybe catching Emerald Downs random, and you're not seeing them going to, you see a horse from Portland Meadows at Santa Anita, maybe toss, you know, it's not the best way back then, but yeah, it's just good to have horses running. And it employed people, so it's sad when it goes down.
Yeah.
People are out of jobs, horses, you know, and the game, the horseman industry is interesting in Oregon right now, obviously, so hopefully they can get it going again.
Well, you've alluded to it already, but first visit to Saratoga and impressions.
Amazing. I had no words. I've walked probably 100 times back and forth. I can't stop moving. Like I feel like I want to see something else. I didn't take a lot of pictures at first. I just wanted to take it in and be all about it. And it's stunning. You can't, until you get here, there's no words for it. I mean, you can think about it until you see it firsthand. It's the best experience of my life in the horse racing industry that I've experienced.
Yeah, that's pretty much everybody's opinion on the first trip to Saratoga. And I say it's not just the racetrack, it's downtown. It's the people, you know, you sit next to them at dinner. Hey, my double today, or the triple I'm playing tomorrow.
So we were at Nove last night for dinner, and, you know, Chad Brown walks in, and then Anthony DeVaux walks in, and, you know, we were talking to Anthony for a little bit, and like, oh, we're going to be here tomorrow, and he's like, oh, that's great, and chatted here and there. So you run into so many people, even
just
downtown
the biggest, you know,
around.
Chad Brown walking right next to you, you know, it's pretty cool, you know, seeing everyone. I've ran into people, and people, the Smoke and Mares blew up a little bit, and it's nice that random people are shouting out at us, yelling smoke, smoke and stuff. We get the random shout outs from like the rafters and stuff.
Should I open this up with hey yo?
Hey yo, right? Hey yo, let's
the
go.
dance and everything. The couch dance.
But yeah, no, it's good vibes. There's been great energy here. I'm blessed about everything, and just to come here, it's been awesome.
So how did you guys get together? I mean, this is completely a social media meetup kind of thing, and then what was the impetus for getting the podcast started?
So pretty much, I did some, you know, a random video that got views, and I love the horse side of it, so I kind of just saw an opportunity to do more, and I wanted to do it a little different than other people are doing. I watched, you know, see all the horse stuff, so I just was like, let's do it. Let's try a little show. You know, let's have a guest on within the industry once a week. We'll do a little horse of the week to interact the audience with Twitter and stuff, and just see what happens with it. And we've got amazing horsemen and women on there so far. You know, in all parts of the game, and so we're just kind of rolling with it and see where it goes. just got the logo made here. I had to bring
Nice,
that out. So yeah, we're just kind of escalating it and see what happens with it. So,
yeah, and I pulled
random.
up some video, and the guys can roll that too, just to kind of show what it looks like. And Mary, where can people find it, and how often does it come out?
So we do once a week, and we can be found on Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you're looking, we can probably find it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are on Twitter, so I think most of our views come from Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's the home spot. At Rennie Time is my Twitter handle. At Mary Elizabeth. So yeah, it's good stuff. Look at that. It's always fun. It's all good vibes and energy. That's my part. There's some people you can be negative about anything. It's easy. You can find hate and negative in anything you want. We're not about that. Let's have the good vibes. We're all firing. We're all here for the same reason. And the love of the horses, and the people that are working in the game just don't get enough love, I feel like. And I feel like I want to even escalate it more to make jockeys more like a sports, like a NBA guy, like car type. You can do more. I feel like with the social media and with the you can go the VR stuff. Maybe you can just get a little stuff like throw me on like someone like me thinking he's on a horse or something. With the jockey, just stuff that I think's to keep the game going. We got to keep it going forward. We got to get the younger people involved. Well, I'm 41. I'm not I'm not gonna be here forever. We got to keep the younger generation going so we can keep the game we all love of horse racing.
Yeah, I mean, the technology has to be embraced by the industry and has been to a point, but we can still do more. But the game has completely changed from when I got in it.
Exactly.
You picked up a racing forum the day of the races, and you got the ink on your hands, and now you get the online. You get it 3 days before, and you can watch all the replays. So for you, it's a completely different game than when I started. But that's all a positive. And Mary, talk a little bit about the podcast itself and what you're trying to do each and every podcast. It looks like some racing conversations, some previews, some handicapping. But I pulled up one last night, and I was watching a nice interview with Romero Mirage, who had an injury and talked about coming back from the injury, and then kind of, for me, helped explain the whole NFT thing. And I thought that was good. So I'm assuming that's kind of a regular feature to pull people in and kind of get that background.
It definitely is. And Romero was so great. He came on, and that was probably one of our longest interviews, I believe, because I think there was so much ground to cover and so much that we were learning about him as a young jockey going through that experience of being injured. And I think it's so funny that he tells his doctor, he goes, okay, can we get the surgery over with? Because I have a mount on Sunday that I need to be at. And he's like, let's see if you can walk first.
He said, oh, that's kind of a wake-up call. Yeah.
No, but he's so involved, and it talks about growing the sport, young people growing the sport. He's so involved, not just a jockey, he does so much more than that. So that's really important for us to showcase and the aftercare and everything.
Exactly, and that's what we're hitting on. He's really young, and he's talking the NFT and jockey experience, trying to, he's trying his best too, because he knows you need to get the young people are into that as much as, I wasn't raised around it. We weren't, we didn't have it, but it's there. Got to accept it, embrace it, make it, so everyone enjoys horse racing.
I'm lost on the whole board monkey thing, but they're getting millions of dollars, so let's go with it.
Right.
So again, it's the Smoke and Mare podcast. Google it, and you'll be able to find it. Follow these guys on Twitter, and you'll be able to pull up the Twitter feed of the podcast as well. Definitely worth checking out. But also, while you guys are here, again, on the podcast, you do a little handicapping. So I said you come up with a couple ideas, and we have a couple of races to take a look at today. Let's jump in. Maybe give out some ideas. Mike, I will say, you mentioned on one of the podcasts I watched last night, you said, I'm going to be there, I think it was Thursday, and you put out a little double. You singled a horse in the first leg, which was the fourth race, I think, and it went 4 deep. And you said a $1 double, $4 total. And I checked the results, and your $4 turned into $34, and you said, I'm going to be there live to play it. And all I have to say is congratulations, and I hope when you played it live, it was way more than $1.
I played more than $1. It's like you don't have everything out there, put the minimum down, but definitely fired more than $1. And it was great to win at Saratoga the first day you're there. Actually have a horse you give out that rolls. It definitely makes you feel good. You try your best. Obviously, you're going to get losers out. You're trying your best to just create more of a just ideas for people, and you know what I mean. But yeah, having a double dialed in off the show is always
that was a nice
I'll
call.
take that all day.
$4 into 34 is a nice call.
All day.
So we're going to take a look at the Shoe V.
Yeah.
At the game plan. Shoe V, it's Clariere versus Malathat. They're the two monsters. Crazy Beautiful. Had Ken McPeak's assistant in here yesterday. And, you know, they're taking the shot, but what did you guys see in the Shoe V?
I don't see the pace set up for Clariere this time. I mean, will someone try to gun it? You know, I don't just see it. I mean, I think Malathat's going to be closer to the lead and just have that one run because of the pace setup, have ton in the tank, roll them up late. Maybe Clariere comes up for third. I'd maybe go Price in between. So, yeah, there's not much obviously there. But I would put Clariere in third or fourth if you're trying to do something. But, yeah, Malathat I just feel is ready to get that revenge. And won't have that. Clariere had the setup. I remember that race. It was an interesting race, that one where Clariere came through. Surprised me, that race. Actually, I didn't think Clariere was going to win that one.
I've always been kind of a fan of Clariere, so I was on board.
Which price are you looking for in Myrtle?
You know, since it's a 4-horse race, you're putting both in there. You know what I mean? I mean, there's nothing else. I'd just go 3 with 1, 2 for an exacta straight would be my play on that race. You can see the money. Maybe it's worth a win bet if Malathat floats around 1-1. I would hammer that. Even money. If you get even money on Malathat, I would definitely play that.
Double your money.
Yeah.
Mary, your thoughts?
I'm actually taking the opposite horse. I will be taking Clariere. I think she might be the better of the closers between her and Malathat. And in the Ogden Phipps, we had a mile and 16th, and we're going a mile and 1/8 today. So that extra half furlong, I think, will make Clariere seal the deal in closing.
I'm with you because, as I say, I've been kind of tied on to Clariere. I've liked her throughout her career. I said on the handicapping show, that's not a super handicapping angle, but sometimes you get tied in with these.
Yeah, no, I know. Sometimes I don't like added distance for closers. Sometimes I think speed.
Okay,
I'll take a speed more in a longer race. You know, it's a thing where like, the horses need a little more distance type angle, and sometimes, of course, that's the case. But I actually like horses that have speed that go longer. Because, some horses don't have that, you know what I mean?
That is always the mistake at Triple Crown time. Somebody's closing big in the Kentucky Derby or the Preakness, and everybody goes, the Belmont. And then they float along on the lead in the Belmont. Your horse says, your closer has no shot.
Yeah, you get a lead in the Belmont because of that track. Yeah. I mean, that backstretch at Belmont, you better be close enough, unless you have a special horse and the pace is going, but if not. But, yeah, so that's my thoughts on that.
All right, I'm very intrigued. When you sat down, you said, let's take a look at race 5 and race 6. And on the handicapping show earlier, as I introduced this race, I said, race 6, I have at the top of the page a puzzle.
Yes.
And Anthony Mormino on the previous show and I were not matching up really at all. I'm going to be interested to see where you guys go in this 6th race. Maiden Claimers racing for a modest $105,000. 2-year-old filly's going 3/4 of a mile. What did you guys see in the 6th?
Well, I'm going to think some of these horses are going to need that win here to get some of this money back. You got we got a Justify Baby at $750,000 with the 7 referee, and then we got Randomized the 8 $420,000 Nyquist Baby. They need a win. They're hoping, but I didn't like either of those, and you have the favorite. I'm assuming Brad Cox, Key of Life, will take all the money, but I fell on the Pletcher. Went with the 4. K-Ling here. I like the works. It's not too little, not too many. I think Pletcher saw what he wants, has a 411 Tomlinson number, and it's just the Practical Joke and the Mitchiff combo there. And yeah, just like those works with the Pletcher. I feel like Pletcher would work more. If the horse doesn't run, he's thinking longer, obviously. It has a little bit of Indian Charlie in the back, so maybe he's thinking longer. That's why he didn't work him that much. So I went with that. With the 4, K-Ling.
Yeah, Practical Joke and Todd Pletcher. So you have a little, I always like to say, nature and nurture.
Yeah, right?
A little nature with the sire, a little nurture with Todd Pletcher. Yeah. I had that one kind of down at the bottom of my mix. Mary, what did you see?
I really like the number 6. It's a first-time starter. Vava, maybe?
I would go with that. That sounds good.
Leave it to John and Brielle later today to figure that out. Going morning line of 8-1 with Sias and Cherie DeVaux. I just like what I see from the workouts and good numbers from trainer, first starters, and 2-year-olds.
Got Cherie coming up a little bit later on. I will get her opinion as well. I have that
Yes.
one right underneath. I use randomize on top because these first, his debuters, it's hard to get away from Chad and Klarovich. But with Gun Runner on top, I'm thinking Vav is probably right. But 6th race, fun, interesting race. A tough way to kick off the late pick 5. But hey, guys, we appreciate your stopping by again. I will tell people to check out the Smoke and Mare podcast, which is relatively new, right? We've
11 episodes once a week, so it's definitely new. This whole thing I kind of started December of this year, where it kind of started escalating and just run with it. Opportunistic type person. So let's see what we can do and keep the good energy and good vibes with everyone. That's what it's all about, man. We're all here firing the same game. Absolutely. We know it's a grind.
Mike, have fun as you wrap up the visit. Mary, you said you're going to be in town the rest of the meet, so I'm sure I'll pass with you again. We appreciate you guys stopping by.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys having us on. Bless.
Sounds good. Yeah. All right, we will head to a break. When we come back, Kim Weir, Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation, will catch up. As I said earlier, they have a lot of nice events coming up that you should be aware of, so we'll talk about that and more. Stay tuned.
When you think trucks, think DePaula. Then come join the family for value. Just visit, call, or click.
This week, celebrate with savings. Drive Silverado, just $3.99 a month. Yes, $3.99 a month.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
When you think trucks, think DePaula. Then come join the family for value. Just visit, call, or click.
This week, celebrate with savings. Drive Equinox, just $259 a month. Yes, $259 a month.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Come on!
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to Loose on the Lead. Seth Merrow solo because, again, Steve Bick down at Monmouth yesterday and headed down to Colonial for a couple of days as well. So I'm solo, but solo only in the host chair. We have plenty of guests and plenty of fun for the show this morning, a jam-packed show. And as I said before the break, happy to be joined by my friend Kim Weir from the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation. And had to have Kim on early in the meet, one of what I'm sure will be many visits because that's typical. But I had to have you on early in the meet because we have a lot of events coming up that are worth touting and things you'll want to think about participating in, and just overall the Thoroughbred Foundation worth knowing a little more about. Kim, good morning.
Good morning, Seth. So happy to be here. Happy Sunday.
Thank you. Happy Sunday as we wrap up week number 10. I believe it. Week number 2 wrapping up.
We need to keep it slow. Going to keep this going slow.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Hot and slow.
Yeah. And I said earlier, actually today was supposed to be the hottest of the recent days. I actually feel like it's okay.
There's a little breeze.
Yeah, no,
it's
nice today so far. We'll talk some of the events in a moment, but I always like to, when we have you on, for folks, as I continue to say, I think when we come up here and do our show from Saratoga, we get the regulars and the longtime fans, but I think we pull in a lot of new fans too. So for folks who aren't familiar, Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation, TRF, just give us the mission.
Sure, I love saying the mission. So the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation is the oldest and largest thoroughbred charity devoted to the aftercare of retired racehorses. We were founded almost 4 decades ago, and what we do is provide sanctuary to the horses that cannot pursue a second athletic career, or have actually gone on to a second or third athletic career, and now they've reached a point in their career, they've aged out, and they are most vulnerable. That's who we focus on, and we take care of them for the remainder of their days. It is a big herd, 450 horses living in 19 farms across the country, and 9 of those are our TRF Second Chances programs, where the horses live in prisons, and they are the teachers of men and women who are going on to brighter futures. That's who we are.
And we've talked about the Second Chances program before. Wallkill is one of the facilities, and when I was over at the track a couple of days ago, you were hanging out with one of the graduates of the program, and it kind of proof that beneficial to the horses. Obviously, they have a place to spend their years and get well taken care of, but beneficial to the humans as well, because they come out of prison with a skill, and your example was certainly showing that works out very well.
Yeah, Tyler was so happy to meet you, Seth, and thank you for giving him a little time. His name is Tyler Frame, and he's really a tremendous ambassador for our horses. I always say I have a role to play because I get to speak for the horses because they can't speak for themselves. But Tyler speaks for the program, and he can tell his story. So it's been fun having him with me. I'm a little exhausted, but it's been great.
No, he seemed like a ball of fire, and it clearly has come out of the program and kind of been successful on the way out. And so it's nice to see, this, as I say, the success story on the human side as well. I will also mention you are opening up a new program as well. Despite the name, it's right here in New York State.
Exactly.
Talk a little bit about the new program.
Don't let the Wyoming fool you. We are not in the state of Wyoming. We are very, very proud and grateful to have opened our Second Chances program in Attica, New York. Also rather famous for different reasons, but our horses will be arriving this summer at a beautiful new farm. We christened the barn just a week ago with all of our friends from New York Department of Corrections. Our instructor, Courtney Howe, has been working since January. She already has guys in the program. They are doing the Groom Elite curriculum. They're learning all about horses, and they just can't wait to get their hands on them. Meanwhile, they've been doing things like learning how to build fences and how to prepare the barn and how to run a farm, which is what they will do over the years ahead. We will start with 5 horses out at Wyoming County Correctional Facility. That's the actual name. And we could grow up to 25 horses there in a very short period of time.
Nice. All right. Great way to participate. We showed the website address earlier. You can go there. There's a donate button. Keep that in mind, but a great way to participate as well, and maybe make a donation and have some fun during the Saratoga season. There's some nice events coming up. Let's tout some of them. First of all, there's the website address, by the way, trfinc.org, so swing by. I'm disappointed I didn't get my ticket for Gumbo, and Gumbo is sold out. So I will mention it just so you keep it in mind for future years, but I will also tout last year. I was there, Kendrick Carmouche coming up with a little Gumbo, and again, I can understand it sold out this year.
Well, I will say this, though, Seth. Kendrick is so excited about it, and the Principessa Elena Society that hosts it, they bought all the food, they host us. I saw John from the Principessa last night, and he said, listen, if you need to open that door a little wider, here's what I'm going to say to you and friends watching. If you send an email to me, kim@trfinc.org, with your favorite story of Kendrick or why you love racing, there might be a ticket for you.
I like
Kim@trfinc.org. John said he doesn't want folks to be turned away, so just send an email. We'll see what we can do.
All right, so that's coming up tomorrow night at the Principessa Elena downtown, the Italian American Club, essentially.
Yes, it is on Oak Street, right off Beekman.
Also, tomorrow, Paint by the Paddock, or coming up on Tuesday. And is the Gumbo's tomorrow, Paint by the Paddock's Tuesday.
That's exactly
So Paint by the Paddock on Tuesday. That sounds like kind of fun too.
I know, and this is completely an idea from one of our volunteers. This is like the gift of our whole summer, is people coming up with great ideas and saying, can we do this and raise some money for you? We say yes and thank you. So my good friend Vince Verro has really been the master behind this, and it benefits both the TRF and BEST, the Backstretch Employee Services Team. And we are literally going to be here on a dark day, Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. We're going to have a paint and sip sort of thing. If you've ever experienced one of those, someone will walk us through. We're painting a really cute picture of a horse. That's actually the horse we're painting on Tuesday. Really cute. And meanwhile,
So at the end of the thing, you wind up with that?
yes.
I was going to say
A version of
I was going
that.
to say, at the end of it, I wouldn't wind up with that, but
Me either. But you'll
especially
have,
if I'm sipping. Yeah.
You'll have a rendition of that, but nonetheless, it's, I think, going to be a ton of fun because it's so pretty here on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, and we're grateful to Naira for letting us do this and to Vince for bringing it to life. But tickets are definitely still on sale for this, and we'd love to we have a great crowd coming, and the more the merrier. So
Yeah, if you go to the website, trfinc.org, there's an events link at the top, and so you can follow and get tickets for events that way. That sounds like a lot of fun. Also, Casa Amigos for jocks and horses. I'm assuming our friend Lee Einseidler involved intimately in that. I saw Lee the other day. It was fun to see him. Always fun to see him up here at Saratoga. But that's coming up on August 5th.
yeah, we are so, so grateful once again to Lee himself and to our amazing board member, Anita Motion. This was her brainchild. And then the Adelphi Hotel, who have just come through, and they host us with such grace and such generosity. On August 5th, we will have a fabulous cocktail party in the beautiful newly done ballroom. We'll also have use of the patio. There is air conditioning for anyone who came last year. That'll be a plus. But the tickets are just $25. You get a feature cocktail, a Casamigos cocktail, and if you want to go ahead and get yourself a special edition Casamigos bottle, those are $175, includes the cocktail and the bottle, and that's signed by the entire Saratoga Jockeys Colony. They are going fast. There are only 100 of those bottles, so it'll be fun. Join us.
Yeah, very good. And I will highly recommend this. I've been a few times now, and last year I shot a nice, so maybe we'll replay that before. The piece I shot last year was fun. The barbecue at the barn, still out at the Saratoga Winery, correct?
Absolutely.
That's coming up August 25th, barbecue at the barn. And as I say, August 23rd. And as I say, highly touted by me, so keep that in mind. Talk a little bit about the barbecue.
Yeah, that is the one true fundraiser that the TRF team, our whole group, comes together, and this is our big fundraiser. We love and appreciate each of these wonderful things happening, but the barbecue at the barn is the one where we want to gather everybody who loves the horses for a really fun, family-friendly, casual, like a park-like setting out there at Saratoga Winery. Tickets are $45 if you buy them before August 1st. We do have an early bird rate, so buy your tickets now. We have a silent auction, we have raffle tickets, we have miniature ponies that always steal the show. Upset is coming from Impressions. Lots of racing celebrities, because I've already booked Seth, so he's coming. So come join us. But here's what I like to say about it. A, buy your ticket now. And then let's not let that date get here too soon. I want this summer to go as long as it can, and I can't. I never want to say I can't wait for the barbecue, because I can wait. But it'll be awfully fun when it gets here. Yeah,
and the silent auction items are all great. I will verify that as well. And I see an Upset, the mascot for Impressions of Saratoga, and their sister store, the Dark Horse Mercantile. They're sponsoring the Dark Horse Play today, so go say hello to Upset as well with Dave and Mary Ann Parker. They were at the barbecue last year, so it should be a fun night. Typically is, so keep that on your calendar as well. I also was going down the TRF Twitter feed last night in prep for this, and I saw it when it was originally put up a few days ago. But our man Andy Serling came out and visited one of the horses.
Oh my gosh, we had such a nice afternoon. Andy is he loves those horses so much. He loves the game, but he loves the animals, and we just went out to our summer farm that we have a couple of the horses up from Wallkill, and he became really close buddies with Professor Chaos. That's Andy and Chaos. And they really had a nice afternoon, and we just talked horses. I guess that's something Andy does quite a lot, talking horses. And in this case, he was talking to horses, and we just had so much fun. And we're grateful to Andy every day for how much he loves the sport his support for the TRF in particular is a great gift. So thank you. It was a great day.
Yeah, very good. He tweeted out a bunch of the pictures, and I will verify also. I visited some of the horses, and if you bring a camera, hold tight because they like the cameras.
I always say the fuzzier the microphone, they think that's really cool. So you need to come out. They'd love to meet you. This is Trixie and Chaos that are out there this summer.
Very good. Kim, as always, appreciate the visit. Anything else we should hit on?
No, we're just so excited about the summer. I feel like we're trying to squeeze 3 summers into one this year, but we just need to all enjoy every moment of it. And a Sunday morning with you is a true treat. Thank you.
Oh, then there was aftercare day yesterday, and are you guys regulars at the community booth as well?
Yes, we do have. That was a great day. We're so grateful to Nyra for putting that together. We were a part of that. Old friends in TRF were in the winner's circle for the first race, and we have the community booth on August 20th, so right before the barbecue. I think it's Alabama Day.
Worth swinging by and learning more about the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation. Kim, visit 1. We'll have at least 1 or 2 more to keep up to date. Certainly, we'll bring in before the barbecue and remind people of that event because it is very special. But you guys do great work. Appreciate the visit.
Thank you, Seth. Awesome.
Kim Weir from the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation. She's in the green room. Cherie DeVaux, the nice win with Tarabi on opening day, coming out of the chute. Had a nice win yesterday as well. We'll talk about those horses and more. Stay tuned.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
The Clubhouse Racebook is the Capital Region's new home for racing and sports. 25,000 square feet of Vegas-style action with live wagering on the best horse racing from around the world. 260 flat-screen televisions and state-of-the-art wagering terminals. So don't miss out. The fun is only minutes away at 711 Central Avenue, Albany, just off exit 5 of I-90. And don't forget, if you can't make it to the Clubhouse, you can always wager online 24/7 at capitalotv.com.
I'm Seth Merrow, and as serious horse players, we know that information is critical when placing a bet. With live streaming of more than 30 tracks, race replays, free past performances, and daily picks from professional handicappers, no one gives you more up-to-the-minute information than Capital OTV. Combine that with the best player awards in New York State, and you have everything a serious horse player needs to be successful. Win more with Capital OTV. Winning starts here. Welcome back to Loose on the Lead. As promised before the break, we are joined now by trainer Cherie DeVaux. Cherie, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
I think one of the first things we have to talk about, we'll hit on a couple of the winners you've had at the meet so far. It's been a nice little meet for you at this point. We have a couple other horses to talk about. But always when I bring people on, and we've had you on before and probably hit on some of this, but as I always say, every summer there are new people that we're hoping to pull into the game, and I always like to kind of introduce people and get a little background. You're a local product, so talk a little about how you got into the game.
I am. Well, I was born in Saratoga, and my family was involved and still involved with the Standardbreds, and that's how I got my start into any sort of racetrack life. And my parents got out of it when I was about 9 years old, and we moved to Southwest Florida, which is where I grew up, and had nothing to do with racehorses. I was a rodeo girl, and when I went to college, my first year of college, my parents moved back up here and dabbled back into the Standardbreds, which is how I got my start here with the Thoroughbreds for Phil Believes as a hot walker, which has morphed into what it is now.
Yeah, very good. I kind of cut my teeth across the street at the harness track. That's how I kind of became a fan and a bettor and whatnot. And so I still like to go over and play, and I always circle the DeVaux name, and I see that over there. Did you do anything on the harness side with horses at any point?
I cleaned a lot of stalls when I was a kid, but nothing really of significance as an adult. I'm a fan. I think they're cool horses. The people who are in that realm are such hard workers and just have such respect for them. It's a lot of, they don't have grooms and hot walkers often. They just do it all themselves, and their game is more morphed into training off farms instead of on racetracks. So they're shipping and they're doing a lot. So it's a really tough life, and you just have to admire those who stick with it.
Yeah, we were down Florida Derby weekend. We were down doing Gulfstream, but it was the last few days of Pompano, so I went over and shot a little story on the last few days of Pompano. Interviewed John Barry, who's the publicity guy there, great guy with like an institutional memory, and Gabe Pruitt, the announcer. But John introduced me to the track photographer, who was maybe 21 or 22 years old, and I said, "So how long you been here?" Meaning, how long have you been the track photographer? Since she was young. And she said, "I've been here my whole life. I don't know what I'm going to do." Her family had trained horses. Like, oh, dude.
Yeah.
But that there is that dedication on that side of the game. Certainly. So you were on the rodeo side of things. What'd you do there?
I was a barrel racer.
Oh, really?
So I can hang on to one going fast, but I'm in my older age. I'm not that game anymore.
Very good. All right, let's jump in and take a look at some of the action, and let's go back to yesterday. I like Jane Mast, so congratulations and thank you there for the $9 winner. Jane Mast is going to be the number 4 horse, second career start. Talk a little bit about the debut, running third at Belmont, what your thoughts were coming out of that, and then moving into this race yesterday with the nice win for Jane Mast.
Well, she's been a bit difficult to get to the races. She's had some bad luck things happen, but she's also her own worst enemy. She is just difficult to train. She's a bit difficult in the barn. So, her first start, I just told Johnny I don't know how she's going to act, but let's just give her an experience. She had a tough post on the inside. And it's always something to build forward from. So we didn't have her cranked and ready to go again because she's like hard on herself. And, she came out of that race and she's been really aggressive in the morning. So we've tried to work on getting her to not be so keen, and when she's breezing to relax more. And you could see a bit of that when the gate broke, and she broke a lot sharper this time than she had the last time, and Johnny had his hands full coming into that short run of the turn. So, Johnny did a good job. He didn't fight with her too much, and he got her behind the speed, and she relaxed enough to get a breather and not expend too much energy. So a filly like her, we're going to have to just take our time in between races and make sure that we're just not blowing her mind too much, because she's the type that gives the impression that she can go the wrong way, and then she's just not going to be the best she can be out there on the track.
So is that a project now that eventually you think she gets through? It starts 1, start 2, start 3, she's just learning, and eventually the light bulb comes on, and then you have the real racehorse.
Well, I've heard the family's difficult,
okay.
So I think with a horse like her, you just have to manage it, and it's like a kid who you can't reward the bad behavior. So we'll give her some time to her next start. So we don't really have anything. It's just going to be how she's acting and how she's training.
Certainly looked good yesterday, though. Start number 2 when we watched the stretch run there, and she took the lead and then held off a little bit of a late closer. So nice performance there. The way you're talking, this meet may not.
Maybe at the end of the meet we'll
okay.
look for an allowance race, but again, it's just going to be dependent on how she behaves herself between now and then.
How'd you come out of the race?
So far, so good.
Oh, very good. And I wanted to go back to opening day. This had to be fun. This had to be fun on a number of levels. We're going to take a look at the stretch run from the Wilton opening day. Tarabi is going to be the number 7 horse. Todd Pletcher's Goddess of Fire, who is a nice, talented runner in her own right, runs second. So that's a nice win for Tarabi here on opening day. But as I say, it had to be fun on a number of levels. This was only her 5th career start. A nice win. First time out of the Wilson chute, yeah. So you're in the record books in some fashion to begin with. But then I read the really nice Joe Clancy story in the Saratoga special about the Silks and your husband's relationship with Bobby Frankel. Talk a little bit about the win and opening day, a stakes race coming out of the chute, and the Silks and whatnot. And it had to mean a lot to all of you.
Well, you get tied up in the moment when you win any race, and to come here and that be our first start, and you win a race. It's a stakes race. We own part of it ourselves in partnership. So and then you get the sentimental when you start reflecting on it. I know it means a lot to David, my husband, to get those silks over the finish line first in a stakes race and here at Saratoga. So it was quite special for the whole family.
The silk's given to him by Bobby Frankel, who he had a relationship with since he was a kid. From
right.
The
so his Dottie, my mother-in-law, David's mom, was his right-hand person in the office, and David's father, who passed away when he was in his 20s or early 20s, was one of Bobby's best friends. So David grew up in the barn with Bobby, and it was more like an uncle to him. So it's really significant to have that and part of his legacy come through with us in my career and my husband.
It sounds like the silks were literally given to him by Bobby Frankel.
Yeah.
So it's just, as I said, and people can go back and look at the archive of the Saratoga Special online and pull up the article. It's worth taking a look at. Those guys do a great job at the special, finding out the stories that are a little bit under the radar, but it adds a real storyline to the race.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also wanted to hit on another horse that you and I were talking before we went on the air. Maybe not a start up here, but we'll take a look at the win in the Roxalana Churchill Downs on April 30th. It's going to be Byroness. She subsequently ran 5th in the Chicago back on June 25th. But this was a nice win in the stake down at Churchill, and I'm just wondering how she's doing. And as you say, maybe not a game plan for up here, but what are you thinking?
Well, she's doing well, and her last race in the Chicago was quite disappointing, and there wasn't an excuse for it. So it's not something you want to take a horse off of that type of race and bring them up here and run them in a really competitive race. So we regrouped. There's a couple different options. There's the Lady Tack at Churchill that is part of their one-day Arlington Million card, and that's 6 furlongs. She likes the racetrack. And then there's also, and I can't remember the name of the race, but there's a 7 furlong race at Charlestown, which has some form going around 2 turns, so that might be an option that we entertain as well.
And this one was at Churchill, and we were talking before we went on the air. I said to you when you were in the winner's circle yesterday after a nice win, I said I wanted to grab you because I know it's hard to get you because you're back and forth in and out of town. Talk a little bit about your travels and horses here, horses in Kentucky. How's that all work?
Right, so we're Kentucky based, and my stable, the majority are in Lexington and Louisville. And so when we come up here, we handpick the horses for the races that we come up here. It's a luxury that we have, and we can get the horses ready in Kentucky. And like a Tarabi got ready in Keeneland and shipped up here and ran well. So we try to pick the ones here that fit the spots and at any level, and from stakes to claiming. But you try to bring the ones up that you think are fit here the most because it's so competitive. And we travel most weeks where we come up Friday after training and leave Sunday after the races, and we have a little charter that we organize for a couple trainers and jockeys and make use of it. So it's quite convenient for what we do because it's hard when you're running any size stable, especially when you're divided, to keep everything organized and have your eyes on everything.
So you're running a little bit of Ellis this summer too?
Correct. Yeah, I've got 2 in today and 1 in the first.
Do you have 2-year-olds going? Because I just asked that because it seems like over the past 2, 3, 4 years, 2-year-old racing at Ellis has been very competitive.
It has. That's where Tarabi made her start.
Okay.
And they have a great program.
Yeah.
Purses are strong up there. They're up to $60,000 now for the main special weights. And the Ellis Park track is great. And I can't say enough for it gets hot, but they try to accommodate and do the right thing by moving post times up. And they have a lot of different watering stations going to and from the track. So it's a great place to get 2-year-olds started. I trained there one summer, and I mean, it was great, especially for the 2-year-olds. So we don't really we're starting them. This is when my 2-year-old, or this is actually early for anything that I've started as a 2-year-old. and we'll have a couple, really starting to get going here in August and September.
Sounds good. We'll look forward to those, but I brought it up because it's a nice segue. We talked a little bit about this with an earlier guest because we were looking at the sixth race today, a maiden special event for 2-year-old fillies here at Saratoga. Hey, modest $105,000 up for grabs. You gotta love that. But you have Vava in here. I put that one right in the mix. Why? By Gun Runner. The Gun Runner runners are just so precocious. Give us some of your thoughts on Vava.
I really like this filly since we picked her out as a yearling, and she's impressed every time we do anything with her. She has been great, excellent in the morning, breezing. She's got a great mind on her. She's just got a really nice presence to her, and she's a beautiful physical. So our original plan was she was ready to run at the beginning of July, and she just banged her leg, and we just had to skip. And I really wanted. She was one I was wanting to run at Ellis, and they just didn't have a good option for her. So we brought her up here. She seems to fit and be the quality. Now, whether that translates from the morning to the afternoon, we're going to have to see.
All right, sounds good. Looking forward to it, certainly. Again, that's the sixth race, number 6, Vava. And you and I were talking beforehand. Vava means?
Strong and finish.
Finish, very good. Yeah, it's not just handicapping. You learn a little something every day at the racetrack.
Exactly.
Cherie, you appreciate the visit. And again, you have to be thrilled with the start you've had up here.
I have. It's a culmination of a lot of hard work and dedication, and my team. My sister is my assistant up here, and so she's working hard, and the crew everywhere works together to get this to happen. And I can't be more grateful for them and their support and their hard work.
And nothing like a stakes race on opening day.
Exactly.
Bingo. Appreciate it. Thanks for the visit.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, we'll take a break. Speaking of stakes winners, Bruce Brown is in the house. Robin Sparkles looked great yesterday. We'll talk about her and more. Stay tuned.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. You'll get live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform, and best of all, you get track prices. CapitalOTBBet.com. Bet any place, anytime at CapitalOTBBet.com. And be sure to download our new mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Having trouble finding us? It's actually quite simple. Whether online or on your TV, it's never been easier to watch and wager on championship horse racing with Capital OTB. Simply log on to CapitalOTBBet.com. There you can watch our morning shows, live stream races, and wager on our state-of-the-art wagering platform. You can also watch from the comfort of your home on Spectrum Cable Channel 1250 or Fios Channel 467. And win more with Capital OTB.
I said it earlier, after the win in the stakes yesterday, I immediately went down to the winner's circle and said, hey, come back over with us to Bruce Brown, because Robin Sparkles, I said it again when he sat down, man, she is a fun horse to watch, and she looked great yesterday in the Caress. We'll look at that in a moment, but first, let me welcome Bruce Brown. Thanks for coming over.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Happy to have you over, and let's do it. Let's take a look at the stretch run yesterday to the Caress. Robin Sparkles is going to be the number 6 horse here. Took the lead immediately, no surprise there. A little bit of a late run from Super Sensational, maybe made it a little bit intriguing, but she said, no, nobody's going by me. Talk a little bit about the stretch run here. Again, Robin Sparkles, the number 6 horse. What were your feelings coming down the lane?
Yeah, I had a good feeling around the turn because she got a little breather, and then Javier kind of spurted her away right at the top of the stretch and really put the other horses on the chase, and I thought she'd be, at that point, if she got beat, it was going to be close, but they were getting there, and I knew there were a lot of good horses behind her and that we're going to be making the runs, but she's tough when she gets out there and has a chance to catch her breath a little bit.
Yeah, just looking with yesterday's win, you have to be in the neighborhood, or you got to be over $500,000 in earnings with 9 wins in 16 career starts. She has just been phenomenal. You and I were talking before we went on the air. A lifetime best buyer, a solid 93. You have to be thrilled with Robin Sparkles.
Yeah, and she didn't run as a 2-year-old, so she got kind of a late start, and then she's gotten to where she's pretty much strictly a grass horse, so she's only running for part of the year, and to be able to have those kind of numbers, I mean, she's just so consistent. And even when she gets beat, she tries, and she always puts it on the line.
Pulled up, I think it was the seasonal. It was the seasonal debut back in May. The Politely down at Monmouth, May 21st. Robin Sparkles is going to be the number 1 horse here. Dan Santino, who everybody recognizes from Tampa in the wintertime, but he nice win back in May at Monmouth on Robin Sparkles. Again, this was the seasonal debut. Being at Monmouth, obviously open company. You had to be thrilled with the way the season kicked off here. Subsequently, ran 3rd in a little stake down at Monmouth. This obviously was an off-the-turfer, being on the dirt, so she's really versatile too.
Yeah, she is. And this race, she was probably a couple works short for this race. We were just kind of get a race into her, and that would be more rather than having to work her 3 or 4 more times. So she's really kind of run. Her races have gotten her fitter and fitter as we've gone, and I think yesterday was kind of the culmination of that, where she really seems like she's good to go now, and she's back from her break over the winter.
And as I say, that was the seasonal debut we looked at on the dirt. Subsequently, in between that win and the win yesterday, 3rd in a turf stake at Monmouth in the winner's circle yesterday, you were kind of feeling like she was maybe better than that 3rd place finish.
Yeah, she just really she got pushed pretty hard and just was very fast fractions, and she didn't really get much of a break around the turn like she did yesterday. So she was really pushed, and she was very game to even be able to finish 3rd in that race. She just nosed out the horse for 3rd, but that was just a great effort just to be able to hold on to get that stakes place there.
Talk a little bit about how she came out of the race and what might be coming up next.
Yeah, she bounced out of it great. She ate up last night, just like she hadn't really done anything. She really bounced out of it good. But we were praising her this morning. She was just loving it. She'll be going back to Mike Schrader's farm probably either later on today or tomorrow, just to get a little bit of a breather like she always does. But we'll probably point for the Smart and Fancy, which is here, I think in 3 weeks. So that'll be 3 or 4 weeks. That'll be her next penciled in if everything goes good.
And I'm just looking at the past performances. You picked a couple of spots against state breds, but she is a New York bred. That, I would think, gives you some options too. I don't know on the female turf sprint side how many options there are on the New York bred, but it does give you some options to look at with the horse. That's nice.
Yeah, it does. I mean, for that, like you said, it's mainly dirt, because they're not, even for the boys, they have longer races for New York breds, but the sprints, they don't really have much of or if any of a program for that. So that's why we've had to pretty much be open company. But she won. Actually, yesterday was she's definitely better on the turf, but yesterday was her first stakes win on the turf. She had won her 2 stakes wins were both on the dirt, so it's kind of they were some of her worst buyer numbers, but those were her 2 stakes wins. So it was good to get a stakes win on her preferred surface and where she runs better numbers.
And a graded stakes win, always impressive. Your first graded stakes win?
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, very good. I mean, I have mainly New York bred, so you don't get to run in a lot of those unless you have one like this. So that was great to do it here, and the family was all here. So it was just a very great experience, and there's no better place to do it than up here.
Yeah, nothing like a stakes win up at Saratoga. Talk a little bit about, we've had you on before, and I'm sure we've hit on this, but I continue to say it. We get new viewers every year, and folks that hopefully are new fans to the game as well. I'd like to introduce them to the players. How'd you become a player in the horse racing game?
Yeah, well, my older brother, Steve, he's retired now, but he was a trainer, and so that's the summers I'd worked for him when I was very young, and then kind of went out. When I graduated high school, I went to Monmouth Park and worked for John Forbes and rubbed Tail the Cat for him, and then that was my first experience in Saratoga was when he won the King's Bishop up here. So that was my, you know, as a groom. And then '99 I worked for Billy Badgett for a little bit, and then Tim Hills for a while up here. I was his New York assistant before I went out on my own in 2008.
So, very good. And you know, we talked about nice doing a stakes race up here at Saratoga, but just talk about you participate at all the tracks. What's it like to come up here in the summertime and, you know, play in front of the full house? Again, in front of fans that I think are just so knowledgeable.
Yeah, it is. It's great just because everybody's so involved and so in tune with everything that's going on, and it's just it's a great atmosphere, and you just can't beat it. You know, it's there's nice tracks, you know, around, but there's just something about the summer in Saratoga, and like my whole family comes up, and my wife's a teacher, so she has the summer off, so we just kind of, everybody gets to come up here and just you know, so we get to do everything together and experience it together, so it's great.
Go out to eat. You have a favorite restaurant?
We went to the Wishing Well last night, so that was that was, and they're always solid, so that was our celebratory dinner last night.
Take us through, I'm curious, a day for a trainer in Saratoga, having had other trainers here. It does seem like maybe it's a little bit different, a little more hectic, because owners maybe want to participate a little more. Take us through yesterday, because yesterday, I'm sure it was a typical early start, but the stakes race was like 6:15 or something. So take us through a trainer's typical day up here.
Yeah, it's you know, you get a little earlier start here just to kind of try to get enough done, get stuff done before it gets too crazy. So I try to get to the barn a little earlier up here, but
what's early?
I'm usually like 4:45. I'm here. Like, my alarm goes off at 4, and then by the time I get here, it's like 4:45. But just kind of get you know, look at the horses and kind of get things set for the morning before everything starts getting hectic. But yeah, and when you have a runner, then it's, you know, and I claim a lot of horses, or try to claim a lot of horses, so that kind of adds a whole other aspect to it. Who are you going to claim for? Who wants to claim what race? You know, so you have to kind of get everything organized as far as you know, what races you're running in, what races you're claiming in, and just where you know, what's going on for the day.
Have you been participating claim-wise much up here? Because it seems like the claim box has been on fire.
Yeah, I've probably been in about a dozen shakes so far, and I haven't gotten anything, but just all big shakes.
Yeah, no, I did. Up in the press box, I've been hearing, oh yeah, this one got claimed 12-way shake, or like, wow. Bruce, appreciate the visit. Certainly, again, congratulations on Robin Sparkles. We'll look for her hopefully in a few weeks. Get to see her again up here in Saratoga. She's just so much fun to watch. And I was like rooting for the New York Reds as well when they step out into open company. She's just been fabulous. So I wanted to have you over to talk a little bit about her. And as I say, congratulations. Good luck going forward. Appreciate the visit this morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's always good to come talk to you guys.
Bruce Brown, again, with Robin Sparkles. I'm going to wrap things up for a Sunday morning. Loose on the lead. I'm solo. Bick will be back next week. As I said earlier, I think I'm substituting the radio show for Bick on Wednesday, so tune in there. Could be interesting. Could be fun. We will have a great day of racing here. Obviously, come on up. I mentioned it earlier, the low rollers, if you'd like to come up and play that. That's a lot of fun here at the track. We have a show pool down at the Clubhouse Racebook. Go down and see if you can get on the show pool team at the Racebook. Should be a lot of fun on this Sunday afternoon. As far as the morning programming, we're back in on Wednesday. Handicappers report at 9, Racing Across America at 10. We'll see you then.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.